Hey there, Aquarius. Welcome to your reading. This is your bonus love reading for the rest of the year, the rest of 2022. It's just whenever you find it. We're going to look at your general energies in your first row here for love in this first row. Next, we're going to look at their current feelings for you, and it doesn't matter whoever you're thinking of, or if you're not thinking of a person, clearly this is going to be a new person here. Next, we're going to look at who is coming towards you in this next row right here. And then in your last row, we're going to look at anything unexpected that could be coming in for you at this time. And on top of that, by the way, you have the Four of Wands wanting to pop out. We'll take it. So that's marriage. On top of that, we're going to pull 3 yes/no question cards at the end, and that'll be that. In your first position here, you have this control card. It says releasing, taking back power. So some of you could be removing yourself from a controlling situation. I mean, clearly there's a new beginning here. Look, Fool, Star to the 8 of Wands. Could be definitely a new person, obviously, clearly, coming in for you here. I feel like you're uncertain about it. You have the moon. The moon is telling me, I just feel like the moon is part of your journey. I don't think it's a person coming in for you. There could be a water sign coming in for you, but I feel it's more talking about the journey that you're on. As far as love is concerned, I think you've been in a period of darkness, not sure, what to do, maybe a little bit confused. But I feel like the most important thing, sorry, my camera might have just turned off, but I feel like the most important thing is that you are taking your power back with this energy, and that's exactly what I would do if I were you with this control energy, is take your power back and kind of like make your own decisions. You have the Fool, the Chariot, and the King of Cups. Definitely could be a water sign coming in for you. If it's not a water sign, I don't really feel it matters, because I feel like this is saying that you need to trust your emotions. Really, I don't think this King of Cups is a person. For some of you, it could be. I don't actually see a person here yet. So, definitely something to think about, but he has very deep emotions. I've been getting the King and Queen of Cups a lot in readings over the past few months, and I've just been telling people I think we're in a time where we really have to listen to our heart, like whatever our heart is telling us to do. So I really feel if you need some like quiet moments, or if you need to take back control, you have the Star here, time for healing, right? So if you need some time to like listen to what you want, then that's exactly what I would say here. He has very deep emotions, and he really kind of like explores those emotions. He decides what his heart is telling him to do, no matter what. He's sitting in choppy waters. So people might not agree with him. Situations might not agree with the decisions that he's making, but they're heart-based decisions, so he can never go wrong. That's the whole point of the waves on the card, is that, yeah, he might be creating waves by making a decision in life to move towards a person, to leave a person, to marry a person, to whatever. Someone is always going to be upset with a decision you make, right? It doesn't matter what you do. It's like, just look at, like, there are people like who give away money, right? And there are people who hate on those channels on YouTube that give away money. Some of them are scams, yes, but it's like the ones that are good. It's like there are still tons of people that are like, oh, they're doing this for the views and things like that, right? There's always going to be someone that is miserable when you make a decision, right? Of course, because they can't do anything. I get that feeling for you here. The reason I'm ranting about this, Aquarius, is that I feel like no matter what you do, no matter what decision you make at this time for your own life, it's your freaking life here, Aquarius. It's nobody else's. And I just feel like some of you need to hear that. So there you go. You have the Chariot. You're moving towards a victory. Some of you definitely could be moving, period. You have a lot of cards that would represent travel or going in a new direction. So I definitely feel like it's time for a start. You have the Fool and you have the Chariot. The Fool kind of says time to take a leap of faith. The Chariot is about moving away from where you have always been. He's leaving this city behind him, and he's going towards a victory. He also is kind of being guided by the universe. Those sphinxes in front of him, they have no reins attaching them to the Chariot. Again, it's funny that you have this control card where it's like one of those dolls or whatever that's being controlled by the strings. There are no strings on the Chariot, but it can represent kind of like the universe guiding you at this time. You also have the Fool, so definitely some sort of new beginning that you're probably going to have to take some sort of leap of faith towards. And the reason I also say that is because of this right here. You go Fool, Star, 8 of Wands, quick movement, could literally be some of you moving or traveling for love. It could also just be that you have to make some sort of change. I see some fears here, right? So maybe you're just going to have to be patient with yourself with the Temperance card, or you're going to have to, I don't know. I feel like I've said this to you before because I feel like you've had the Seven of Cups with me a bunch of times. I feel for you, the problem with the Seven of Cups, Aquarius, is that, it's like you can look at any situation and there are going to be good things and bad things in the situation, right? The Seven of Cups is just dreaming all day long. And I think, if I was being super picky about just the readings in general, as I've said to other people with Neptune and Pisces, it's too much fantasy. We can get lost in the fantasy and not make something a reality. And then we start building up fears. We start thinking like, because we're not moving anything forward. So if you get involved with a person, make sure to move it forward. And also, as I've been saying to you all year, trust the evidence. I feel that out of all the signs, it's most important that you really look at the evidence that is before you when making decisions. And evidence is like actions. So if you're dealing with a person and you're wondering, is this person serious? It's like, well, are the actions that they do serious or not? And I feel you really have to pay attention. It's almost like I get, not for all of you, but for some of you, I feel like you could be confusing yourself with that Seven of Cups. So I just be careful. With the Fool, you have this Independence card. And like I said, maybe it's a love reading, but it might be a really good time for you to take a break from love at the end of this year for some of you. I don't, of course, feel that for all of you, but we have Mars going retrograde, so maybe it's a time for you to assert your independence. Maybe it's time for you to learn how to take care of yourself. Maybe it's time for you to dig deep inside of yourself with that King of Cups and figure out what your heart wants, and maybe that's what you need to do. With the Chariot, you have this assertion card here. I feel you need to assert yourself, again, against people. Dragons represent fears, and I feel you need to face some fears, especially with that Seven of Cups. I just feel like there could be some fears that are preventing you from maybe having true love. That's Sun in Aries, by the way, so it could be an Aries coming in for you. With the King of Cups, you have this acquisition card. I would just say, part of me feels like because we have Uranus and Taurus that you're not going to be attracting a bum, right? Because, I would just say that Uranus and Taurus has a certain desire for freedom. So it's like if you're attracting someone who doesn't put work in or doesn't do work or whatever, someone who's too lazy, you're not going to feel free. You're going to feel very trapped because maybe if they're, let's face it, let's call it out, right? If they're not making money, it's like, how can you do things with a person who isn't making money? And as I've said to other people, it's not like money is important. It's not like it's the most important thing. But again, if you're with a person where you can't do things, that kind of makes a relationship hard. So, so it is about money a little bit, right? Plain and simple. And so I feel like you could be attracting someone very abundant. That's Sun in Taurus, by the way, so you could be attracting a Taurus. Next, we're going to look at their current feelings for you. You have abundance, so I do feel like someone either has their eye on you or you could be dealing with a person already, and I feel like this person sees you as very abundant, obviously. I also feel like they want to provide abundance in a connection. So I kind of feel weird about this. For some of you, I feel this is someone you've talked to for some reason. You have the Eight of Wands. Could be a friend, or maybe it's just a person where you just have been talking to them and it hasn't gotten off the ground yet, so take it how it resonates. But you have the Seven of Cups, the Star, and the Ace of Cups. I'm getting the word dreamer on this card, so you definitely could be attracting someone who's like a dreamer. Maybe they have big dreams, and I also feel that they could be very successful. I always tell people, I would be careful of getting attracted to potential, because then you're not attracted to the person. You're attracted to the potential of the person. And if they never become that person, then you're going to be disappointed. So again, for whatever reason, just intuitively, this might not be politically correct or whatever, but I just don't give a shit anymore, right? What I would say here is that, make sure that this person backs up their potential with actions. It's like if you attract a person who always has these big dreams of making millions of dollars, but they're sitting on the couch, probably not going to end well, right? If you attract a person who has dreams of making millions of dollars and they're constantly studying, putting in the work, building things, testing things, trying things, then, that's probably a good clue that they can actually back up what they're saying, that they can actually do what they're saying as well. They're not just dreaming. They're not in la la land, right? And I don't know why that's so important in this reading, but maybe you've dealt with a lot of talkers in the past, people who just talk a big game, but they can't back it up, or they just have never done anything with their life. But again, I would trust the evidence. That's what I keep getting here. Next, you have the Star, the Star is a card of success. I mean, this is you showing up in a very strong position as well. So I feel like they want to give you attention. They clearly want to give you love with the Ace of Cups, but I feel this person sees a lot of potential in the connection. I feel a lot of fears here. is what I'd say, Aquarius. You have that moon card. Is this a bad thing? I would say no. I think based off the astrology, we could be, just at the end of this year, there could be a lot of people who kind of are a little bit hesitant to get into new love situations. And again, I feel it's just partly the energy. But again, you're definitely going to want to make this a reality. They see a lot of potential here. You have the Ace of Cups, so definitely a love offer coming in for you. I feel like this person is going to offer you love, and I also feel like they are overflowing in love. I feel they have a lot of love to give in this situation as well, so definitely very good. I do feel travel here, so some of you, again, there could be like a need to travel. You're not going to see them on this deck, but traditionally, the Ace of Cups has like little bells that are kind of like hanging underneath the cup, and again, they're like practically invisible in this deck, otherwise I'd show you. And it's popping, those bells are popping into my head. This person, there could be something with bells, or this person could be literally communicating with you, and I definitely feel that energy where it's like someone is reaching out to you or communicating with you, or whatever the case may be. You could be already talking to this person, like I said, for some of you. With the Seven of Cups, you have this Power card here. See, this is the moon in Scorpio, so like a lot of mysteries, a lot of not being sure what's going on here. I feel like you need to go down the path. I feel like you need to go down the path on the moon card, which we're going to talk about in a minute. That moon is jumping out at me. It's like probably your most important card here, I would say, because the moon is a path. We have to continue the journey, and nowhere on the moon does it say stop. The moon says you have to see something through to the end. With the Star, you have this risk card. I feel like it's a risk to move towards this person. But again, trust the evidence. I think sometimes we're bad at this. And again, I'm not calling you out here. We all do this, right? Where I think that just as humans, sometimes I think we get it wrong, right? And I think this, I think simplifying things and saying to yourself like, hey, they say that they can do all these things. Well, do they actually do it, right? Plain and simple. Or, do they say something and take action? I think that's really important here. So I feel like it's safe for you to take the risk on a new person. With the Ace of Cups, you have this originality card. Again, a ton of Aquarius energy. I knew this was going to happen. I really feel, all these people talk about how we're entering into the age of Aquarius, blah, 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 blah. I really feel like the Aquarius energy is going to start ramping up once we get past Neptune and Pisces, once we get into 2026-ish, somewhere around there. That doesn't mean we're not dealing with it now. Again, energy isn't like a hard stop or a hard start or hard stop, right? It kind of like blends and flows into each other and all this other stuff, I believe. And, again, we're building up this Aquarius energy. So, as I've been saying, I think everybody should try to be their own little star right now, try to stand out in some way. We're talking about positive attention here. But I also feel that things that are original, right? Aquarius, originality, inventions, new things, novel people who are eccentric, things like that. That's what's going to become more attractive, I think, for pretty much all of us. So that's what I pay attention to. Next, in the area of who's coming towards you, you have this eye card. It says envy, protection. I feel like you're going to want to protect this connection. I feel there could be some jealousy in your past. I want to see what this next card is here. It says lock, unlock. It says key on it. I feel some of you need to block someone out of your life. Again, if you have a past connection that is jealous of new connections, I would just block that person's ass so fast like that. You know what I mean? I would just cut them right out because I feel like they're getting all up in your business here. That's what I feel here. For a small percentage of you, I'd say if you were married or if you are married and you're like getting a separation, this to me is like saying you need to if you want new love, I would make that final so that you can get rid of this past person here. I just feel like a lingering energy here. And again, I don't think tarot should tell anyone what to do, right? So, this is just loose guidance at best. So take it how it resonates, but definitely popping into my head. You have the Moon, the Five of Wands, and the Eight of Wands here. Could be like a water sign coming in for some of you. Again, this would be like Pisces or Cancer. Doesn't have to be. Again, I feel this is more your journey. You see this path straight down the middle of the card. There are these two pillars on the path. And those two pillars are a warning to the Fool. And you start with the Fool in your reading. Super important. So those two pillars are a warning to the Fool to not get off his path. He sees something as an accomplishment. Those mountains in the background. It's not easy to climb mountains, but as I always say, where do you get the best views? At the top of the mountains. Those mountains represent achievements as well. So I feel there could be a person where maybe there's some obstacles to getting to this person. Maybe they're long distance. Maybe they work a lot. There's some sort of obstacle here. I don't think it's a bad thing, though. I think it's just something to be overcome, and it's going to make it more worth it. As I keep saying, if I were you, I tell people all the time, I want, if I ever get married in the future, to find a person, and I don't necessarily want it to be easy. To me, easy come, easy go, right? When you have to work towards something, it's much more valuable to you, right? Because you had to work for it. So I kind of get that feeling here with this energy. I feel like this person is very well integrated. There's a dog and a wolf, or a dog and coyote, whichever you prefer. I don't care on this card. They kind of represent our animal instincts, like our wild side and our domestic side. I feel like this person has very balanced energy, and I feel that that is something regardless of what sign they are. You have a lot of fire here as well. Could definitely be a fire sign, but take it how it resonates. I feel like they're very well balanced. I feel like their energies are very well balanced as well. You have the Five of Wands here. I feel like this person's coming off of a conflict, or they've experienced conflict in the past. I kind of do feel that this person is in some sort of competitive energy. And what I mean by that is that they could have a job that is competitive. They could have a business that is very competitive. I kind of feel this person's like a hawk person. Hawk people usually get chased by little shitbirds, right? Like if you've ever seen a hawk that's flying around, sometimes like crows and stuff will chase them around. And so I feel this person could definitely be a person who does get a lot of attention, but they can handle it. So there you go. You also have the Eight of Wands. For some of you, I feel like you're already talking to this person, or you have talked to this person before, or you communicate with them. I even think some of you could be communicating with this person in your dreams, or, telepathically, or whatever you want to call it. But I feel this is going to be something that moves very, very quickly. It's kind of funny because I even see here at the end that maybe this person wants to take their time, but then I feel maybe they meet you or they get involved with you, and it happens very quickly. And same thing with you. Maybe you're saying like, oh, I want to take my time, but it's kind of one of those things where if it works, right? With the Moon card, you have the Idealism card. I would be careful of being idealistic at this time. Again, nobody's perfect. Neptune and Pisces, the Seven of Cups right here. I'd be very, very careful of this energy just in general. And again, this is the Sun in Aquarius, so, this is your card. But I feel like you could be attracting like an ideal partner, but I would just make sure to make things real, like I've been saying this whole entire reading. With the Five of Wands, you have this Friendship card. Again, I'm wondering if you already know this person or they're a friend. So for some of you, I would be careful of friends as well in this situation, especially with that Five of Wands. I always tell people, like, I've just done a million readings over the years, right? And I've had so many times where, like, someone has, like, been like, oh, my friends convinced me to break up with my now ex, and I really love them, and I didn't want to break up with them. Will they come back to me? I'm like, no, probably not. You broke up with them. And, I always tell people, it's like, don't allow miserable people to ruin positive relationships. This is why I tell people, like, don't hang out with single people, right? And people always get mad at me, but I'm like, single people are single probably for a reason. And, if you're in a relationship, I feel that, especially if you feel like it's worth protecting, I would protect it. I tell people, don't hang out with divorced people. What do divorced people do? Every single time I've ever been a divorced person, what do they bitch about? They complain about relationships. They try to ruin other people's relationships. I see it all the time. And it's not true for everyone, but I'm broadcasting here. But people always tell me, like, oh, my aunt Bertha, she's the most positive person I met, and she's divorced. I'm like, okay, good for her. But I'm broadcasting here. I'm talking to like a billion of you. So for the most part, every single person I've met that's divorced is miserable. So I would protect this relationship if you're getting into this relationship, obviously. With the Eight of Wands, you have this Influence card. There you go. Be careful of toxic influences in this situation. I feel like for some of you, I'm wondering if you've experienced this already. Like, I feel stressed out. You're stressing me out, Aquarius. I'm wondering if you had an experience like this where maybe someone toxic kind of ruined a relationship for you, or maybe you've just seen it happen to other people. And again, I do feel this is kind of like saying trust your experiences. For others, I also do feel pretty positive about this. Those two people look pretty happy. So I feel like you could be you're clearly attracting someone who is very attracted to you. Next, in the area of the unexpected, you have this Tankard card. It says celebration, fun, enjoyment, love it. You have this Mountain Road card. Are you kidding me? You are on the road to success. I was talking about the mountains on that Moon card the whole entire time. Climb the mountain. Do the hard thing. It's going to lead to a celebration. It's going to lead to success and happiness, and probably marriage, because you end with the Four of Wands. You have the Temperance card, Four of Pentacles, and the Four of Wands. The Temperance card, there is a path up a mountain right here above my finger. That is called the path to glory on the Temperance card. So for some of you, you could be attracting a person who is like, your ultimate person, whatever you want to call it. There's some sort of change going on here, a transformation. For some of you, again, I do feel, I wouldn't say it's the past person is what I would say, Aquarius, because I don't think it ever got anywhere. Maybe it's a friend or a person that you just never got anywhere with, right? I wouldn't really call this an ex necessarily, is what I'd say. That's only for a small percentage of you as well. Again, you're going to have to be honest with yourself and say like, okay, do I really have this type of person in my life? And again, I would say that it's like a positive person, not a negative one, right? So for some of you, I feel it could be a past person. And it's like you're both going through a transformation that could lead to this path. My problem with the Temperance card is like he's 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Someone needs to make a full commitment here. For others, again, I feel you're just going through a transformation, and in life in general, that's probably going to lead to love. You have the Four of Pentacles. For some of you, if you are dealing with a past person, I feel like they can't let go. I feel some decisions need to be made around the past, whether you cut it out or, again, clearly if it's like a friendship situation, maybe you're allowing this person into your life, take it how it resonates. But here's the other thing. We've been talking about mountains this whole time, and he has a pentacle over his head, one over his heart. One of my favorite people of all time, Greg Braden, says when your head and your heart become one, you can move mountains. So it's like nothing is impossible for you here is what this reading is saying to me. You might have your eye on a person where you think it's impossible, but it actually isn't. So, there you go. You have this Four of Wands. Four of Wands is celebration. Four of Wands also says, go through this doorway. This is like a portal right here in the middle of the card. So to have the celebration, which you have that tankard card, which says celebration on it, to have that celebration, I feel like you have to cross through a threshold, right? You have to complete one thing and go to the next. So some of you might be ending past relationships or blocking past people, going on to the next relationship here. For others, it could just be marriage coming in for you, and it could be unexpected. Again, I do feel for some of you that you could be getting into something that does move very, very quickly, but again, it feels right away. So I want to stress that. Like if something doesn't feel right, trust your feelings. King of Cups, that's like the most important thing here in this reading is that you trust, how you feel about things. So as long as you do that, I feel like you'll be fine. Clearly, this is a good reading. With the Temperance card, you have this Innovation card, another Aquarius card, of course. So again, it's also kind of like saying to me that, Temperance is about turning one thing into another, which is kind of like innovation. That's what innovation is. It's like taking something and upgrading it, updating it. That's one form of innovation, I should say. So a very I feel like you have solutions to problems just in general. I feel like you could be attracting a person who is a problem solver. Like it's kind of funny. I have like the 10 of Wands popping into my head, but it's like this person can handle the 10 of Wands. And here's the thing about problem solvers is problem solvers are usually very successful because they solve problems, right? And, being able to solve problems leads to success, plain and simple. With the Four of Pentacles, you have this indecision card. This is holding you back, Aquarius. I don't want to call you out like I do every single freaking reading that I do for you. Sorry, I apologize, but also I don't because, I want to help you. And also I'm an Aquarius rising, right? So it's like I need to pull my own head out of my own ass. I totally get it. But what I would say here is that I feel like indecision could be preventing you from moving forward. You just need to make a choice here, which comes up in every freaking reading that I do for you, Four of Pentacles. With the Four of Wands, you have this affair card. Some of you maybe you need to end an affair. I don't really feel it's like an affair. That's not what I'm feeling here. But again, maybe there's like a 1 foot in, 1 foot out situation that you're dealing with in your life. Maybe you're kind of like you have a friends with benefits, but you actually want a real relationship. I feel like you need to make the decision to cut the friends with benefits off because maybe that's all it'll ever be. Or maybe the person's in love with you, the friends with benefits, and maybe it can turn into a relationship. It's going to be different for all of you. But again, I feel like this to me is kind of like saying the decision needs to be made. I'm not saying you're holding on to something, but I kind of feel like some of you could be holding on to something that feels secure that isn't, like a friends with benefits or, a past lover or something like that. And I kind of feel this is saying once you cross through the threshold, you're clearly going to find the love of your life, which I feel is someone very original, very successful, someone very tapped into their emotions as well. So this actually looks pretty good. Again, I feel that you're kind of taking your power back, like I said, with that control card. So I do like where this is going. We're going to pull 3 yes, no, maybe questions here, Aquarius. So we're going to do 1, 2, and 3 right here. Feel free to pause the reading if you need time to think your questions. 1, 2, 3. For question number 1, I would say yes, 6 of Swords. You're moving on to calmer shores. I feel like you're moving on to bigger and better things here. For question number 2, hell no. You have the Tower, so no. And for question number 3, this is a conversation. It popped into my head. Like, I feel like some of you need to have a conversation with someone, or there is communication that needs to happen in this situation, whatever it is. So that's what I'm getting there. But this looks pretty good. I feel definitely new love. And again, I feel a 1 foot in, 1 foot out. It's like maybe you just want a friends with benefits, by the way. Make that commitment, right? make that decision. I feel it'll make your life easier. But I also feel the gist of this reading is the mountains. I feel like you can have something that you think is not like impossible, but just out of reach or hard to have. It's going to require work, but it's going to be worth it because you work for it, plain and simple. It looks pretty good. Interesting. So thank you for being here, Aquarius. Really appreciate it. Make sure to watch your sun, moon, and rising for a full picture of what's going on for you at this time. But thank you, and definitely enjoy your month.